Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 19th, cruising through the week here, and you can see that we are pushing back up off of some pretty decent lows. Looking back at the ES, this is the S&P futures. We gave up this support yesterday off of the most recent candles. We wicked through it, closed just a little bit above it. In the overnight session, we did continue down here, and you can see we're hitting some other support down here, pushing back up back into yesterday's action, although not a huge bounce, nothing that I would write home about as of yet. And it could just be that could be a bounce. We had the sectors all closed red yesterday, which typically does indicate that we would get a reversal the next morning. Whether it follows through is a totally different picture. We had a lot of selling yesterday. You can see that volume built up on the way down. So we're going to watch very closely to see how that plant pans out here this morning. Some more bank earnings have come out. Kind of a mixed picture overall. On those earnings, and then of course we start heading really full steam ahead into those earnings next week and the next couple of weeks. So be sure before you get anything, check your earnings dates. All of the ones I'm looking at today, I'm still looking out a bit longer on, and the reason is, well, I just like to have a little extra time and not have to fight that data. However, that doesn't mean that's where you have to play. I'm just giving you an idea of where I like it, where I would probably pay, even if it means I have to pay a little bit more to take a little bit more time. Okay, so let's hop on into it. Start out with a few that we were watching yesterday. I'm going to start out here with Boeing. Boeing, we talked about this one quite a bit because it came up over the 200, and although we closed on the downside of that candle, when we look at the SPY on the day, we kind of did the same thing. Here, let's just take a quick peek over there at that. Right, so we melted, looked like we were getting ready to do a little something, made our way back halfway through the opening range before giving it up, and then super choppy right at the end of the day. So Boeing kind of felt right along with that, right? But we stayed over the 200, and that's a pretty big milestone here. We have 2 days now closing over the 200, and we're looking for this to continue on and stay over that 200. I like this entry right about 226.20, and again holding over the 200. And my first target here is up at the 229.67 to bring it up to that high from yesterday. That'd be my first target there, and then a continued play right on up here to the 233 level. Now we do have earnings coming up very soon, but this can move very, very quickly. You can move, a good $5 to $7 in a day here on Boeing. So we're going to continue to watch that. I like the Boeing. Like I said, these will all be in March. The 230s. So that would be the March 18th 230s. Another one we were watching, Caterpillar, great relative strength, continued down. We do go ex-div. We have earnings coming up, but look at that beautiful march through. Deere was the other one. Both of these were on the list yesterday, but Caterpillar here really outperformed the market, so we're looking for an entry around 230.43, and then a continuation there, looking for a move, the pure breakout there for continuation, and we'll stop around 226.90 on this one. So Caterpillar looking good. I like those at the 230. Visa here looks like an inverted head and shoulders, a little bit longer here, and we have a nice little cluster of the moving averages coming together, holding some relative strength against the backdrop of the market, just consolidating here. So looking for an entry here above 216.91. We're looking for a test of that 20 that we did test it yesterday, but we were looking for another test of that here today and a push through that 20 for a move on up to about the 222.50 area in Visa. My calls are the 318, 220. So here's one that I haven't actually traded before, but came up on one of our scans here. And look at this consolidation, all open candles, even though we have a red candle yesterday. Just a really nice move, and I think you could argue that was probably an inverted head and shoulder there as well. Looking very nice, looking for a push through. Well, here real quick, the other thing I want to point out is we moved up and then started to consolidate as our volume went down. That is typically a pretty bullish look. Yesterday we did put in that new high of 64.94 before pulling back in with the rest of the market. So those are some little telltale signs that something might be getting ready to head higher. I like the ZIM 318.65 call above 64.60 and looking for the breakout of 64.95 for a continuation there. A couple others that I do like, continuing to watch all of the energy play. I am in CVX, but XOM, all of the energy, you can just look at the the XLE. So although it closed down from its open yesterday, it still closed higher than the previous day high. So that is still a bullish look here, and a lot of energy here in the a lot of interest and movement in the energy sector. That's what I was trying to say. Here's one we don't really watch very often. The GE here, this one facing right up underneath the 200, does have earnings coming up for a day trade. I think GE might give us a nice little play at the 105. We saw several of the casinos continue to do well here. I like LVS of all of these. Held in very, very well. Like this above yesterday's close to retest the high and then push on to the 200. So a lot of room there. And Disney. Disney, another one. Nice little move. We saw this big tail on Friday. Tuesday, yesterday we came in. Actually a pretty decent candle. Again, compared to the backdrop of the rest of the market, looking for this to push into the gap, get above the 50, push into the gap, get above the 50, and then come up and test the 20. I'm in this longer and I'm underwater on it, but this is still looking like a pretty decent play for a long. Okay, that is it for me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. Remember, this bounce could be just that, so be very cautious. Make sure that when you get in, you are watching the internals of the market. We would like to see volume moving our way and see a higher close here. Something that we've been missing here. So from the high, we came all the way back down. A lot of high or lower closes. When we came back up, we didn't put in a new high, right? So that could be the pattern that we're having. This is panning out at this moment to have been a bear flag. And now that we're getting a little bump up, we might have a day or so of recovery before continuation. I don't know. We don't know exactly where we are yet. You could say that this is possibly a head and shoulders here. A little soft because it's broken a little bit, but this could be a head and shoulders, in which case we're pretty close to that neckline. We'll see if we push it back up. So a lot of indecision in the overall market. So remember that when you take your plays and keep it a little lighter. Be a little bit more cautious. Wait for the obvious trade. All right, I hope you have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, reach out Heather C. at GivingTreeTrading.com.